Star Wars geek girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Hi, welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. As usual, I'm here with Lizzy.
Hello.
And we have two very special guests today to talk to us about the new very special thing that came out. So we have Jonah from Geeky Bubble and Sal from the Rogue Rebels. So, hi.
Hi.
Hola. Hello.
So, happy belated May the 4th and happy Revenge of the 6th, which is when this is going to be posted. Unless you listen to it later, then happy belated Revenge of the 6th.
Mhm.
Yeah. Happy,
Whenever-
happy
yeah.
Halloween, right? Like you can listen to it whenever.
Merry everything.
Yeah. So lots of stuff happened for Star Wars because of those holy days. So they put art on Disney Plus. We'll start about like the little things and then get into the big one. So they had like art for the different movies and stuff on Disney Plus that looked really cool.
Where's Star Wars Rebels? Where's the Star Wars Rebels?
Right, there's no
Right?
Rebels. There's
What
like
about
one
Resistance?
And
They have, like-
Resistance.
they have all the movies and then Clone Wars season 7.
Mhm.
But in the Bad Batch,
I'm looking at you, Disney Plus. Please speak into the mic.
no Rebels or Resistance, which I was like, but whatever. So they did that.
Like,
And
don't.
then-
I've seen art of Rebels, y'all. Like, it's out there.
So they did that, and then they did Star Wars biomes, which is just like it's like 20-ish minutes, I think 20-30 minutes of just like
almost 20. Yeah.
yeah, just kind of like floating through like Hoth and then like Tatooine and Sorgon and Crate, and I think that's all of them, right?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I
skipped
watched
through
the
it.
whole thing for
Right.
like
Should be burned into your brain.
yeah, no, I just sat there and watched, and like every couple minutes I'd be like, this is boring, why are we watching this? But like we just kept watching it.
I saw someone say that it's almost like ASMR Star Wars, and I would like that because they have a
Maybe.
special, like a little it's like a little thing that they have on Disney Plus where you can hear sounds of Disney, and I love listening to that every once in a while. So yeah, I like the idea of Star Wars having its own little thing too.
Yeah, it's kind of chill. I mean, there's like on Crate, you're like in the battle, but it's like not like as intense as it is in the movie.
Stressful.
Yeah.
It's not though, but it's like I don't
I
know.
saw somebody on Twitter and being like, "Yo, take Battle of Hoth, but make it chill." Because like you're kind of like far away, so you can like see the walkers like walking, and the like speeders are kind of flying by, but it's like,
Yeah,
Oh,
I think Tatooine is probably actually the most like intense because there's like a land speeder that like drives through, and you kind of like follow it really close for like a while.
Mhm.
That's probably the closest you get to that. Like,
So you
yeah.
could study to this.
So you could, yeah, you
Yes.
could actually.
It doesn't have music though. It's no
Stressfully
Yeah, no music.
study to warp.
look. It's no Sugan Isana. Fine, I guess. Or
Yeah.
Zebrak. Hold on.
Zebra. I was
So,
listening to
my-
Zero's night club music, whatever, today, and I was like, you know, this is kind of good.
Like everything has a cool Star Wars name. Even like my favorite like solo song, "Chicken in a Pot." But the song that Zeb is listening to towards the end of season 2 in Rebels is called Zebrak.
Maybe
So-
that's why he likes the song.
Did he? You
Chiming
literally
in.
wanted to come in here, bro.
Oh.
Did he used to be in a band, or
Yes.
what did like his friends just like really be like, this is for that honor guard homie Zebra? Like, or is that just what he told Ezra it was called on the mixtape that he made Ezra? Does it just say Zebra? And he's like, that's like Zeb's chill beats, but he's like, this is my rockin', like Zeb rockin'. And I sit here and I look at the convoys on Chopper Base. I
I
don't like the name.
love the idea of Zeb being a rocker.
He
during
was in
his
a
teen
band.
Years.
He had-
yeah, during his teen years.
He had like a
to have been.
mohawk. You
Yeah.
know, he dyed it like green.
Oh my goodness.
I want that
dyed it
backstory
green.
now. Yeah,
No,
I want
like
that
his
backstory
eyes
now.
are like already green. He dyed
Yeah,
it
it
something crazy
matches.
like brown.
Oh, green can
Orange.
match.
Orange.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, orange. Yeah, that's like Sabine never dyed her hair until she met Zeb. He's like, I can help you out. That's like the real backstory there. We solved it.
Interesting.
We did.
Yeah, but besides
Yeah.
biomes, they also had ship fly through. So they're both like a couple minutes each. They had one of the
Mhm.
Falcon, which again I watched the whole way through, and it's literally just a camera going like around the Falcon, being like, "This is what it looks like," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Cool, I already knew that. I'm gonna watch it anyway, though."
I would love a ghost version in the future.
That's what I want, a ghost one too. But then
I don't know where I
one,
heard that, but I could have sworn I saw on Twitter somebody saying that there is one of those. But I
need
know
to
that they're
look
releasing more episodes.
Oh, okay.
Once
I need to
again,
look
this
it
is
up.
just hearsay, Twitter rumors. Don't believe everything you
those
see
are
out there,
always
kids, but
very believable.
a 2-minute thing I
so-
can believe if they already have, you know what I mean? Like they already
Yeah.
have the assets
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the second one was a Star Destroyer model, which I actually didn't watch the Star Destroyer walkthrough because like I literally watched biomes and then in the same sitting watched Falcon, and I was like, I need to actually like,
Do
do
something.
something right now. I can't.
I thought you were like, it's too big. This is gonna take all day.
It's too big. Yeah.
This is bigger than the biome.
Yeah. So yeah, but that one's out there. And those are, I think that's it for all the new stuff, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a Simpsons like crossover thing. I didn't
Oh
watch.
yeah. I watched that, but I've never really seen The Simpsons. So like it's just kind of like, okay.
The Simpsons we
Yeah.
do watch a lot, but I just, I was busy with the Bad Batch.
Yeah. I did watch, I remember the Phineas and Ferb one they did years ago, and I like that one because I like Phineas and Ferb as a kid.
I did not watch Phineas and Ferb.
A good show. Perry. Okay. So
Also voiced by Dave Bradley Baker.
yes, he is the platypus. It's crazy. So also the big thing that was released, which is the main point of this podcast, is the Bad Batch premiere.
Yes.
So spoilers if you haven't seen it, watch it. It's really
Leave
long.
now.
Yeah. It's really good. My dad and I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to watch it because he's always like, because he's a teacher, so he's like, my kids are gonna spoil it. I gotta see it before. So we wake up early. We did the same thing with The Mandalorian. Yeah.
Like normally we can do it because if it comes on at 12 and it's like like we were doing it for the Mandalorian as well, but this one was like a 70-minute and I'm like, nah, we can't stay. Like over here, we're on Pacific time, so it's at midnight. It's not too late to stay up till 12:30.
Yeah,
You
guys
know?
are lucky.
Yeah. But like, this one, it's like, nah, we'll be up till like 1:30. And then, on the Mandos, it would happen sometimes. The episode would end and then you would just be like laying in bed like, but I think that's Boba Fett's footstep. One will believe me for at least a year.
Yeah. So I guess
And then I'm texting Haas till 2:30 in the morning.
Noe messaged me at like 10.
I didn't. No one woke up, and I was like, maybe Jonah watched it. No, maybe Sal watched it. No, maybe Lizzy watched it. No, I was like, come
Well,
on.
because I was asleep and I said, no, I haven't watched it. And she gave me an angry face like text.
I
And I was
would
like, I'm going back to bed. Sorry.
And I did start, I think, by the time, no, I don't think I had started. But the reason I hadn't started early was because I was gratefully invited to be on Good Morning America as a virtual audience member. And so I was going to wake up early to watch it, but then that happened and I thought, dang, now I gotta put it off till after and I don't want to get spoiled. But yeah. We all watched it in the end.
Yeah, that was my curse of waking up early though, because like I couldn't talk about it with my dad because he had to go to work, and then like I kept saying, I was like, has anyone seen it? No
Where's
one did
Safi?
till later. Safi doesn't. She wakes up like last minute to go to school and then goes to school and then watches it later. I don't know if she's watched it yet. Actually, she's like crazy busy with school stuff.
Okay, she
I'm
has
not.
school. That
I'm
makes
done
sense.
I'm done the semester, so I can do what I want until work starts, which isn't very far away. Yeah. So what are your spoiler-free thoughts before we get into the stuff?
Every time Hunter came on the screen, all I could hear was Jonah saying Hunter. That's all I could hear. And I was like, And like it didn't ruin it at all. It just enhanced it a little more. And I thought it was hilarious.
He was just so fine throughout the whole freaking thing.
Excuse me, sir. Can you come here? You are too fine.
And funny because I was talking to someone about it, and I said him holding a tray of food, sexy. Like how do they do that? But yeah, I was definitely in love from beginning to end, and it was an awesome series opener, I should say. And I think it actually trumps Rebels for me. Like I love the Rebels Spark of Rebellion series premiere, but I think this one definitely takes the cake.
I wouldn't go that far.
No,
It was very good. I still like Spark of Rebellion more.
No, nobody's on your side, but we understand.
Yeah.
Your
What?
opinion.
No,
We
wait,
respect
no
it.
one else likes Spark of Rebellion more?
No, I was talking to Jonah.
Jonah.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, hold on, not you too.
you
No,
know,
not me.
I would have to go rewatch it because it's been a while and see how I feel about it compared to how I felt with Bad Batch.
Like I said, no.
But I'm probably in the minority. Yeah.
No one's
It's
gonna argue.
wonderful.
We're just gonna let your opinion be.
I respect your opinion and your right to have it.
But that's my spoiler-free thought on it.
Dad, what about you?
I liked it a
Javier.
lot. I have one big issue with it, but it
I
has
think I know what
Oh,
your issue
I
is,
do. I
'cause
do
it's
have
my
It
issues
has-
with it.
it has
Yeah.
to do with other things, not necessarily that there's anything wrong with it. It's just
Yeah.
that's upsetting.
Yeah,
For me.
story wise, I really loved it, but there are
Mhm.
definitely flaws in there that I just was like, why?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
So-
really fun. The music was really, really good. It looks amazing to be back. Like it looks like tip top, like the best. I mean, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say the best Clone Wars that ever looked. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's basically just more Clone Wars. But yeah, it's just like yeah.
Yeah,
So everything about it was great. I have a problem.
We will discuss that soon.
Yeah, I'm sure. So that was our spoiler-free thoughts. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it and then listen to the rest of the podcast. All right. So we're
Yes.
getting into spoilers now. So I guess we'll kind of start with a little opening monologue, which is just like basically like revenge. It's a Clone Wars style monologue, which is
Mhm.
good because
Yeah.
I like those. That's one thing. Like sometimes I'm like, it would have been kind of fun if Rebels had a little thing like that. But that's one thing I like about Clone Wars. So they have the Clone Wars monologue. I don't know if it'll continue through the rest of the series or if it was like an opening thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see on Friday, I guess.
Find out Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. But I liked it, and they like reanimated like Revenge of the Sith scenes. They have that like new like sexy Grievous model that's so great, and like
Yes.
And it's only used in 2 shots.
I know, but it's so great. It's beautiful.
It looks so good.
It's amazing. And because I remember like when we first saw it in like season 7 of Clone Wars, I was like, oh my god, it's beautiful.
And it's the exact same thing, basically. It's like Grievous like walking up somewhere and it's like the Grievous has blah 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 blah. And it's like one little shot in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing.
And
The
it's
Bad
it.
Batch, Grievous has launched an all-out offensive. And like
Yeah.
it's Grievous in the escape pod again.
Yeah, but it's like straight like animated shots because I saw someone did like a side by side and it's like Obi-Wan slicing like the droids and then like Anakin slicing droids and Palpatine's like what?
Right.
And then like Grievous pushing buttons and it's like shot for shot Revenge of the Sith and it's so
Right.
amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah, shots from straight up from Revenge of the Sith.
And it's beautiful.
It is.
Glorious.
So yeah, they had a little
I got
opening.
I got really excited with the monologue and stuff. It usually brings back good memories.
Yeah,
of
and
Clone
I'm
Wars.
not saying I would like a Clone Wars version of Revenge of the Sith where everything's the same, they just animate it, but like I am.
I know, right?
Like
We need to get into the trend that things, instead of going from animated to live action, it should go to from live action
Exactly.
to animated.
exactly. No, this is like whenever I write like something on Starsgeeker, I always like try to use like the animated version of a character. So I'm like, I could use all these pictures of Hayden Christensen, but I'm gonna use animated Anakin to like establish dominance. I don't know, but like
I am going to use the con exclusive cover of the Thrawn book with Hayden's head on a Clone Wars body.
excellent. See, yeah. So the opening monologue, and I'm like, this is so cool. And then they're like, all right, we go to Collar with Depa Balaba, and I'm like, we go to where?
As soon as they said it.
I was like, yeah.
I know. It's funny because I understood collar and I thought, what? I don't know what this planet is. So I had to go back and put subtitles. And I was like, I did this wrong. Also, very briefly, I wanted to touch back on something that I said earlier, was that I said take the cake. And now I just realized that that's actually the opposite of what I was trying to say. But I'm changing the meaning to that because cake is amazing. And I think the premiere was amazing. So I'm switching the meaning around for that expression.
Okay. Okay, we understand.
I was just wanting to make sure for the listeners out there who are like,
Yes.
what? What did she's a contradictory statement there?
Where is the cake?
Give me cake. But yes, collar with Depa and poor little Caleb, who I don't know why they did what they did with Caleb's design.
Yeah, he's very someone said he looked more like Cal Kestis than Kanan Jarrus, and I kind of have to agree. Like he does, if you look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's Cal, actually.
It does look a little strange. I got excited because I was like, oh my god, little baby Caleb, like so cute. And then he showed up and I was like, and then he had deep man voice, and I was like, oh
yeah. You know, it's Freddie Prinze Jr. trying to do like 14-year-old voice.
Okay, that was the best though. Like when as soon as he started talking, I was like, yeah, he's like a little kid, and the growth spurt ain't quite hit yet, but his voice already changed. So when he answers the phone, people be like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "That's Axel." That's what he sounds like now, but he's still 4'1.5".
It's so funny.
No, literally a few years ago, like I remember I was podcasting with Lizzy, and like I heard like someone's voice, and I was like, it's like a man's voice, and I was like, but that doesn't sound like Sal. Who is that? And then Lizzy's like, Axel, come here, say hi. And I was like, Axel?
Yeah.
What?
And Axel just walks up and he's like, hey, what's going on, guys?
It was like, I mean, I didn't say anything because like I know when I was that age and someone pointed out something like that, I wanted to like kill myself. But like internally, I was like, oh my god, that's not Axel. Who is this?
Yeah.
I also find it strange because like Dad would read us the comics a lot, and so he read us the Kanan comics, and whenever he would read Kanan, he'd had like his own little voice, and so like I for some reason I was like, why doesn't it sound like Dad? I felt bad. I was like, no, just let it go.
I loved that it was like the Kanan voice, but it was like just like a little higher, like it was like this, and he was like,
slightly.
There's 5 clones. Like, but it was still like, I like that it's like he's a kid, but he's also like this weird, like middle, he's 14 years old, and he's like, I'm excited. Only if I get to go with you. That's how I like to move,
Yeah, that's how I like to move.
And you guys keep up with us. That's like, how I like it.
And it's like Freddie Prinze Jr. because like sometimes he kind of slipped into like the lower Kanan voice, and then he'd like oh crap, like go back up, and it was like he's trying so hard. Yeah, that was funny.
I extremely enjoyed the voice. I extremely enjoyed some of the scenes, and then I like how it was written, because like the Kanan attitude is in there when he's like, good, that's how I like it. Like some of those lines was very much Kanan, like was very much what like that, and I thought they did a really good job with the writing, except for the writing.
Yeah, agreed. That was my thing too. I assume you're talking about the overwriting of the Kanan comics, I can assume, right?
And it's so interesting because as a Marvel fan, like I watch the movies, but I don't really take offense when they don't take stuff from the comics. So it's interesting to see the Star Wars community handle it. And I'm like, you guys, we can accept both. Both are so old,
though.
I feel like
they're so old.
I think
and I feel like to me, okay. Sorry.
The big difference is that like Marvel is sort of like, well, this is our comic universe and this is our movie. Like, they sort of tell you that like ahead of time. And Star Wars goes out of its way to be like, look, we are resetting canon, people. Everything is important. If you read a comic, man, that's gonna count. And if anything, like they give us the like, oh yes, everything is gonna be cool. And a video game I play is gonna have characters that are gonna show up in a book down the line, and I'm gonna love it.
I think that's where, like, I knew the moment Zaluna was not mentioned at all in Rebels, it's like I knew from this point forward they weren't going to reference things or be consistent or anything like that.
But there's like a difference between reference something and like straight up overwriting.
I see.
Like, I guess let's just take like, because like this in the community, there are different shades of this, right? So when season 7 of the Clone Wars came out, people were like, oh my god, I guess that Ahsoka book is gone. And I'm like, why? Because her lightsaber is green instead of blue. Like,
Yeah.
to me, like, you sort of give me the story and I'll take the story. And if there are small differences in the telling of the story is still the same. The story is still, she was there. She caught Maul escaped, Order 66. Like, at the end of the war, she lets her lightsabers go. We could presume she buried him. Like there's like slight differences, but the story is the same. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, that doesn't, like, the color of her lightsaber isn't as big
affect
of
the
a
story.
yeah, exactly. And
But
I guess
it could be argued that it hit beats this
it hits
particular
some beats.
they Depa I mean, when I went back to the comic and I said, I think there's a way where you can see both of them happening, where it's like that conversation that she and Caleb were having with Gray or Styles, I forget.
Yep.
That conversation could have happened at an earlier point in time. We just don't see it. It just happens in the comic. Then it switches to Order 66 and you see Kanan running, and actually Caleb running. And there was someone who pointed out 5 guys that were separated from the rest of the group. And someone's like, are these the Bad Batch? and I'm like, I have no idea.
Right.
But,
okay.
Well, and I
but
think
that was interesting to look at it that way.
I think for me, part of it too was that like I feel like you mentioned the Ahsoka example, and that didn't bother me because like the version of Siege of Mandalore was very minor changes, and it serviced more to the story and to like Ahsoka's character. Where this version, I feel like the comics do more for Kanan. I feel like that's a better story for Kanan's arc. Where this version of it, I think, isn't focused on Kanan, and it shouldn't be because this isn't his show, right? Yeah. But it's sort of like they just kind of. And like, because like, to be honest, as much as I loved seeing baby Kanan and Depa, it didn't have to be them. You know what I mean?
I wish it had been Katuni.
Yeah, Katuni or any of the baby younglings.
Or any of the other young kids. Like, it would have been amazing.
It could have been Pietro and it would have been the exact same lines.
Yeah.
Right? And I just think like, I don't know, I think it's kind of frustrating too, because like you said with Marvel, like it doesn't really matter when stuff doesn't line up, but I feel like because like they've stressed like so much, like they stress like it all counts, and like they've mentioned before, like movies and shows kind of take precedence, which never bothered me before, because I know some people are like, oh, this like minor little thing changed, and I'm like, I don't really care about that. They've said those
things in like when you're comparing like a novelization or a comic book adaptation, not necessarily like if it's something different and something different. So like for me, I think the main thing is that like I need to get with Jonah and have a conversation about this, because like your little thing makes me feel a little like I want to marry the two. Like, how can I make this fit? You know, how can we make this happen? And because I want to make it work, obviously. And I want both things to exist. And like you said, the bigger thing to me is the things that it does take away. Like you said, it shouldn't be servicing Kanan's character. And it doesn't, because the story's focused on the Bad Batch. But things in the future, like we have a whole show where like one season of the entire show is Kanan and his mistrust of clones, and then you have over here where like there's a clone that literally lets him go, where in the comic like they're hunted down pretty hardcore, and he's hunted, like there's a really big reason for his mistrust of clones later.
Well, I mean, and that's where I'm talking about blending, because then you can go right into, he takes the ship, he goes to Coruscant, he gets, you know, and like, I think there's a way to like sew it all together. It looked really crappy, but it's still
right.
And the way I also try to process things nowadays when it comes to Star Wars, especially, is that I look at one version as like the true version, and the other version as like a game of telephone, where, you know, a story is communicated from person to person, certain details are lost. So it's up to me to choose which one is the true story and which one's the adaptation, or like, so in this case, the true version would be the show, and the adaptation is the show, and the true version is the comic, for me, in my opinion. Right. And that's how I take it. Like maybe one version is like a storyteller taking their perspective and showing us their version of the story. And Dave Filoni gives me the impression as the kind of guy who wants to see his version on the screen. So, you know, we saw that with Ahsoka, and we're seeing it with Kanan.
Yeah, but I guess just what I'm saying is this is the first time that it's actually been difficult for me to figure out a way to reconcile. Whereas like the Ahsoka thing, I was fine. I don't know, like Rise of Skywalker came out, I was fine, and they were like, they said this, and I was like, well, that's what they said. Like, somehow.
And
Yeah.
I totally understand
Like,
because there
you know,
were very, very big differences. And I
But, like-
honestly prefer the comic. Yeah.
but yeah, but I like they both have their things, and like I think the way like the way that I'm gonna have to look at it now is a little more of like historian. Like I guess I see
Oh,
it
yeah.
historian like different
Mhm.
stories are told about different people and they're told different ways, which is kind of like what you were saying.
Mhm.
I just don't like it today.
You just,
Yeah, I don't like it. And I think for me, I had to rewatch it because like that kind of put like because I haven't read very many of the comics, but like I love the Kanan comics.
Mhm.
So I was like I was like really sad. And it kind of put a sour taste in my mouth for like the rest of the episode. And I had to rewatch it to have a more positive opinion of it like later.
And
Like,
I know no, keep
I was
going,
just gonna
Sal.
say 2 days ago, I just like, you know, the little Twitter things like name 4 things that are not the movies that you can't live without, or, you know, Kanan comic, you know, like I literally put it in the thing, and then I watched this thing and I was like, ha.
No, the article I posted on May the 4th, one of them was about like teachers in Star Wars. And I said Deppable Lava and used a picture of her from the comics. And then I was like, because when they first showed up, I was like, oh my God, like she's in the article. That's cool. Like the topics line up. And then I was like, wait, hold on. Wait, my comic, my comics.
Yeah.
And I think for me too, part of it is less about like this specific scene and more like, well, like what other stuff are they just going to change like when they feel like it, you know?
Like it takes away the security a little bit.
Yeah, it's sort of like because like I didn't mind minor changes, but now it's like, well, like are they just gonna, if it's like slightly inconvenient, just like overwrite like my favorite books just because they want to, you know? Because it's like now I feel like I can't trust them not to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Whatever they decide today that they didn't like from yesterday, like I'm looking at you, K2SO comic with Cassian. Like, I know people got their eyes on you. I thought you were fine, but you know, I don't know. It's not looking too. Forecast is not great.
And it's like I don't know, because I feel like too, like I think like you know, for those of us who are crazy like me and Sal and get all the books and all the everything, we invest like a lot of time and money into this, you know, and I kind of want to know like. It can and like the writers of the stuff invest a lot of time too. And I
guess there's a weird like a parallel too that I don't like you were saying before. It literally could have been anybody, but it's like, hey, let's make it Kane. Like, let's go to Kaller. Let's put like they literally like put all of these beats in that it's like, hey, this is kind of like the thing. Hey, remember that comic? This is referencing that, and then like also like so why did you decide to like honor some things and then sort of deviate, although let me stitch it. I'm gonna get
it's
Jonah,
so interesting.
Jonah, we're gonna get you a little dinner and I'm gonna have to like talk to you for this is gonna be the Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I'm just gonna be sitting in the chair and talking to you and you're gonna be like, can you calm down, sir? Sir, this is a Wendy's.
You know, it's so interesting because I do know that the Star Wars was very emphatic about how, you know, we're going to be consistent and continuity and whatnot at the very beginning after the Disney buyout and but after having seen some of the conversations, I'm like, oh my God, this is 2013, 2014 all over again with the Legends people saying, what about our books? What about our stories? And I had to see a whole group of people say, they're still there. Yeah. They're not going to go away. And now I'm seeing this recycled conversation where people are like, what happens to the Kanan comics now? Yeah. And it's like, and I see people saying they're still there. They're not going to go away. So it's so interesting time traveling that way.
It's like, what's the point of saying, hey, these are canon and then completely change them anyway?
Yeah. Well,
and my thing was when I was watching it, not that I didn't have a problem with it, but I was just like, well, can't do anything about it. This is the new thing.
Well, so, and I think too, like, actually, I forget what I was gonna say. Never mind. I'm sorry.
I've been there. I've experienced it a lot.
That just wow. I'm sorry.
Because I was watching. Sorry. Go ahead. Fine. Go ahead, Dad.
No, go ahead. It's your show.
It's such an interesting topic. We're all heated about it.
Yeah. No, I don't know. That's just my thing. Is like I'm not as mad, and I really, really love the Kanan comics. Because they're just good and it's small baby Kanan and I liked how, you know, why he's so like distrusting of all these clones, and I was slightly frustrated, but like I'm also like, oh well, it's Dave.
I just remembered what I was gonna say, so I'm really sorry. But I think like Sal mentioned earlier how they're kind of like being like, oh, look at these things, you know, these from the comics, and like acknowledging them, but then like erasing them. And I think that's kind of part of it too. Like they clearly chose to use Caleb as like an acknowledgement to like Rebels fans and like fans of those comics. So it's just such a weird choice, I guess, to be like, hey, you know this thing, you like this thing, right? And then just like kind of ignoring the thing.
Yeah, I was also too distracted by his voice to like think about anything else.
Yeah.
His amazing voice.
If the opportunity ever comes, either from any one of us, to talk with Dave Filoni or ask him any questions, we have to ask him what was the decision behind altering some of that, and why not just take the comic and just make that into the animated show. But the only thing that I can think of, and I'm hoping that's what's going to happen, crossing fingers, the reason that they might have chosen Caleb to focus on in those first couple of minutes is maybe they're going to give us more Caleb content.
Yeah, but then they're just gonna throw off the rest of the comics.
No, it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't do that.
No, it doesn't have to be where they focus on, you know, Janice Casimir.
Yes.
How could I
General
forget his name?
Cleve.
He's in General Cleve. Like, it doesn't have to be that time period. It could be like when he's older, but before he gets to A New Dawn. So like I want to see that time period, and it doesn't, and even if it does trample over that, I don't know, I just have a different mentality.
I don't know. I love those comics so much, and especially I've been reading a lot, like trying to catch up on the books that I haven't read yet, and it's like, well then, you know, I don't know, like this is supposed to count, so like if you're, you know,
I mean, in the end, nothing really counts for anything.
No,
like it's
right,
how much do
like,
like, you know, I still have my comics, and like I love them, and I'm not going to stop loving them because this is a little different. I'm gonna actually try to stitch it together with Jonah. I'm not gonna leave her alone until she tells me.
We should have a whole episode just for this part.
Yeah, just for this part.
I want invited to that.
But like I guess the main, like, and there's like so many layers here. Like that comic was like written by like Greg Weisman, who was like one of the OG showrunners on Rebels. So like there's so much of this that is like that you would think you know, that this is coming from somebody who was in those, who invented the character, and who, you know, and I don't want to say like not counted, because it's a weird thing to like in the end, everything, like all of this, like we have Star Wars podcast, dude, and I hate to tell all of you this, but it's bacon in space. You know what I mean? I love the stories, and it's the stories and the characters that keep me coming back, but I do like when they connect them, not overwrite each other. Like I like when I can look at it as one big beautiful story, instead of having to pick out pieces and decide what to quote unquote count. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's true. Does the story group even exist anymore? Like I honestly think it was silently disbanded, and it's just like Pablo and Matt maybe, and they're not very transparent, and that's what adds to the lack of trust.
So I think part of it too is that like I obviously I don't know how it works, but it seems that like different people in the story group sort of have their areas of expertise. So like like normally on the comics it's like Matt Martin, right? And then I actually don't know where anybody else is, but I know when I read a comic book, it's always like from the story. Like comic book credits are very small, so they're like, even when I'm turning the pages, I can read it at a glance, and it's Matt Martin.
Yeah. And distrust in meaning like in terms of how the story is created and
right.
And I obviously trust these people, but there are certain things where I'm just like, what?
Well, and I think part of it too is like you mentioned earlier, like Legends, and I do think like part of the difference too for me is like at least Legends, I don't know how to say it because I don't want to like discredit those writers because they obviously work very hard, but there wasn't any impression that George Lucas was like sponsoring them. And like George Lucas, who created these movies, was like, yeah, this is the complete story. Because Legend stuff contradict each other all the time because these independent people working. Where I feel like the writers for new canon stuff are under the impression that like this counts, this matters. Right. People are going to respect this, and then they're also, not.
According to like my opinion, which is not a fact, but like my opinion is that since that has changed and they've had a little more of a reign on the stories coming out, in general, like the bar has been a lot higher, the quality of the stories, like, because basically, like with legend stuff, you just, oh, here, you want to do a comic, here you do a comic and you do a book, and it was almost like hit or miss every time.
Mm.
And there were some really great stories and there were some less great stories, and that, and that's going to change with every person, as I'm sure it does with all Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like everybody's going to have their favorites and their not so favorites, or things that they just flat out don't like. It's all just opinion and how you perceive it. But I guess my main thing too is that the quality of these stories, that we're even debating this, is a good thing, because the fact that so many of us are like, but that was just a really good comic, that don't want to see it sort of get tossed to the wayside. And another thing against Legends, there were a lot of people that didn't want to see that to get tossed to the wayside either. But in order, like, the whole reason for tossing Legends was to have more consistent storytelling. And this is like the first one that I am having trouble reconciling. Not, the other people have been like, well, that's a blue lightsaber now. Like, and I'm like, it's fine. It's still like, she's still,
it's just a visual.
Yeah. What, like, draw your picture. It doesn't matter. Like, the story is the same. And when you paint, I guess my main thing was a few years ago, Pablo was talking about this when he used to talk on Twitter. And he was saying something about like the way that the story groups react, because people would like a lot of people, and I don't like, I try to think of things a little more open. That way I don't get so constricted by things like the lightsaber is my example. In the book, it's green because that's what it was. And then in the shows, it's blue because they decided it's going to be blue. But the story to me is the same, even though small details changed. And so people would get upset when, I don't know, something in a novelization or something would like, a line would be different or something. Oh, it said over here, excuse me, sir. But in the book, it says, excuse me, over there, sir. Like, which one did he say? Like, and Pablo said something, I don't remember what he exactly said, but it was basically the idea of like, we paint like in broad strokes. So like the story is the stormtrooper said something to that guy over there and then they went on the mission. Like, that's what's important in the story. That's what's like canon. It's not canon what he said, what time of day it was, how many feet away he was from the guy. Like, like it, it would be like this in the panel, but in the show, they were both in the same room and over here, they're in a hallway. Like that sort of stuff that they don't really police, that sort of the stuff they let like each sort of artistic interpretation go on their own, sort of like, if it looks better in a panel to draw it this way, they do it that way, even though in the movie it's a little bit different because they shot it with the super cool lens that lets Luke look all, or whatever it is. So I myself don't get hung up on those details because I can understand that like it's all like, and that's a little bit more towards that like historical look as like, hey, this is what happened at the end of the day. The resistance won. You know what I mean? Like, so all the other
details are vague.
yeah, the Colossus went there exactly how it got there, or like just like little things like a blue lightsaber don't bother me. But bigger things like Kanan, I it's probably personal too because Kanan's story is very close to me.
I remember being miffed about the Ahsoka book. I got over it very quickly. I guess I just needed something to like.
The Ahsoka book I tied together real quick. I was
says Maul escape. Why was I even mad? But I think what helped me change my perspective a bit was the Freemaker Adventures. Like that's like supposedly canon and adjacent show, but to me, I choose to see it as something that exists in canon. So Rowan and Ezra are existing in my mind together. So it's like I try not to nail myself down to canon because I know that ultimately they're human. They're going to do things the way that they choose to see it, the way that they want to see it. And this is a prime example with Dave wanting to see his version play out on the screen.
And I think for me, part of it again was like the Kanan comics. Like I felt like it was a lot more like powerful, I guess, that they're literally sitting around a fire joking around.
Oh, it was fantastic.
And then where this, it's kind of like even like the clone, which was credited as Gray in the credits, even though he had like different armor. Gray is like, I wouldn't say he's mean, but he's a little colder to Kanan. Like there isn't that like friendship that was built and then broken. It's just sort of like a generic kind of relationship, and I just don't think that I don't think that services Kanan's character nearly as well.
Yeah, I guess in moments like that, I think back to like when Ahsoka and Rex are like on mission, like they're just in focus mode, and they're not going to be chummy only until like there's downtime and whatnot, or like when there's a moment to breathe. But I like to think of adding that sort of interpretation there for myself, like, oh, maybe it's just because they're in work mode and you don't really see it there. But again, your argument is completely valid, so I'm just putting my 2 cents.
I mean, yeah, and like I definitely like the idea that like, oh, like the stuff in like the camp like happened before, and then you know, like this was the next day. But it's
that's
just
my favorite so far.
It's just, I don't know, it just still bothers me.
It was very beautifully done. Like that comic is just Pepe Larraz and his amazing art skills.
Yeah.
I just like, I need him to come back to Star Wars. But
And
I love
also,
how we've been talking about this for the past 20 minutes.
I know, we haven't even gotten into the episode at all. It's
10-minute monologue.
But like, that was, I don't know. Like I said, I had to go back and rewatch the episode because it was hard for me to like it just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, but my Kanan comics.
Us, we need to be less like solid and like everything doesn't need to be carved into stone in a way that it hurts us as the enjoyers of this. We need to be, like Bruce Lee said, water. We need to be like water and adapt and react to what is given to us. And if we don't like it, that's fine. But like,
because it's just a show.
Yeah,
it's all fake in
I love
space.
how passionate we are about it.
I know.
That's so I love that.
And I think I said this to Jonah like when we were texting, and I was like, I think I might just kind of go with like, well, I consider like the comics version canon, but like we saw that and I was like, that was cool. I'm just gonna say it was a different Jedi just because, you know, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
I think I can blend them.
And I remember there was a quote with Dave about Boba Fett and whether he was a Mandalorian, and I think he said something along the lines of, fans just choose what they want to believe in, and this is a situation where you can also do the same. Choose what you want to believe in. It's there, but you can alter it however you see fit in your mind and whenever you engage with it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too is the scene, like as they wrote it there, like even if, like I said, I don't think it serves as Kanan's character as well, it is a really beautiful scene. Like it is well done.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Like I think, like I don't, like I hate to say like I think it's like a worse version because like it is, but like it's still very good. It's still very beautiful. And they did hit like she still said like run and like, you know, so like they kind of got it.
Well, they even got a couple of more quotes in there. There was something else that she said that was like very similar to one of the comic lines from like a totally different scene, but just I was like, ooh, they're writing good Depa too.
Yeah. I know we just said, oh, don't complain about lightsaber colors, that's stupid, but like it did kind of bother me her lightsaber was blue. Like I know we just said, but like I was just kind of like I just liked it when it was green. I don't know. But
it's
like,
okay to put it out
we
there.
literally just said that it was like explained to complain.
You can like
about,
one better,
like,
it's fine.
I like the green better. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, but before that, I guess we had the Bad Batch come and they like did their cool thing and like took out all the droids, and that was pretty cool. They used a similar move that they used.
What they did.
They like pushed the rock down, which they also did in like the Clone Wars in that little thing. So that was cool.
In the little town.
Yeah. They took out all the droids and it was like, this is great. And then we see the Palpatine hologram and it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Wait, what's going on?
I love how it's like, here's another way that we can shove Order 66 in your face.
Yeah. Again.
They always do a really good job of it. Like,
of course. Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order is another like really good one.
Yeah.
Like, and I think like, I mean, that's just a thing. That's like a video game experience just can give you, because you play through it. You play through Order 66. So like, you're not just watching it like
as like little
around you
cow.
As you're like little running around and your little guy and you're like, help.
Yeah. It's so good. So we see Order 66 and then everything we just complained about happens. And he jumps over the ravine.
Everything's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. Even if I didn't like it, it was really beautiful.
Like it's cold and there's like a mist, like, and he jumps across and you see like 3 waterfalls in the distance, and then they're staring at each other there over the canyon, and
that
like and then he runs away, and then you see the canyon in the background over his shoulder as like Crosshair walks out. Like everything looked dope. son.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't Pepper Larraz, but
And you know what I also loved about that scene, if you just want to like read into it and just put symbolism in there, the fact that there's like this deep chasm and no crossing whatsoever. But then Ezra Bridger comes along and builds that bridge between Kanan and Rex later on.
I mostly
see
thought
another
about it.
Jedi.
I mostly thought about it in terms of like, because when he in season 3, when he jumps over the thing and Saw is like pretty impressive, and Rex is like, he's no Skywalker. And
I heard that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my usual like never thought I'd see another Jedi, much less two.
Yeah. And I also, one thing I noticed, and because when like Order 66 first happens and like they first start shooting Depa, there's a shot and it's of Caleb's back and it goes into the back of his head and then he turns his head and it looks just like at the end of season 2 of Rebels, where Kanan has the bandages on his eyes and it like zooms in on him standing at the back and he turns his head. How do I mute you?
Oh no, now I have it playing in my head. I hope I don't start tearing up.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Sal,
It says the host
muted.
would like you to unmute. How?
Yeah, so that's Order 66 and Hunter says like, oh, he's dead, and Crosshair does not believe him. But like
Crosshair's taking shots at him the whole time too.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
Crosshair's having a hard time.
He says the thing. He says, "Good
don't-
soldiers follow orders."
yeah,
and I'm like, oh no.
Don't rag on my boy Crosshair.
It's so sad because I would like to think that Crosshair obviously just doesn't follow orders and follows what the group does if he hadn't been affected by Order 66.
I want to say we're jumping ahead, but I called it on. I don't know if you guys remember Jonah and Lizzy, but on the podcast with you guys, I said I wonder if like they're gonna realize that the Bad Batch's chips are defective and then go and like fix them and put them in, and they'll just do Crosshair first, and that's why he's like bad. And I predicted it, and I was so proud of myself.
So proud of
I was
you.
so happy.
Yeah.
Hey, can you turn it up to 11?
Anyway, so they go back to Camino and like all the clones are acting like different because they've been Order 66, and they carry a body and like a lightsaber falls off. And I meant to ask you, Sal, do you know whose lightsaber that is? Because you're the lightsaber guy.
I would assume it's Shakti's.
Right,
Shakti's the one who was there.
She doesn't have like the mantras though, so like I don't know.
When you freeze it at a certain point, it's a green and purple hand.
Is it Luminara?
No idea whether it's Luminara, but someone else said that it's definitely not Luminara's lightsaber. So it could be just someone completely new. My friend said it could be someone that they use the model for and just change the coloring.
Yeah,
It'd be interesting if it was Luminara, because
that would explain how they got her,
how they have the body. In
Rebels. That would explain because they just already.
Because I don't know if they go around picking up.
Does
Jedi
she have
bodies.
purple on her hands?
No,
she has some diamond.
Sense,
she has a diamond pattern on her hands, but I don't know if that's
the way. If I remember correctly, I want to say that the inside of the palm was purple and the outside was green. So I don't quote me on that though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure because remember when they did like Rebels Recon and like buckets list and stuff. So maybe they'll have something like that and like clarify.
Maybe.
And maybe they'll like clarify stuff like that and maybe address how we're supposed to fit in this thing with the comics, because that's what I've been kind of looking for, is like what they're gonna say about, because they have to say something. If
you guys just hit me with like hey, remember the Kana comic? Kaller shows up again. I will be like,
yeah. Yeah, so I just that's what I've been kind of waiting for, to see how they're, because like I feel like it's such, because like they didn't really address the Ahsoka thing, but those were like small details, but I feel like it's such a grievous overwrite that like I feel like I just want to see what they say and like how
the Ahsoka lightsabers. I remember Dave talked about that in length.
Well, the lightsabers and like the dialogue changes, like
the dialogue changes.
Like they didn't address like everything, and I didn't really care, but like. I just feel like this. I don't want to get back into it. We're gonna move on.
We did it.
So they get back to Camino, and there's the body on the stretcher, which, is not. So I wonder what happened to Shakti.
She was probably,
Um,
somebody said that she probably did die in the temple then, like that
Yeah.
deleted scene or whatever it
Well,
was.
the deleted scene, I thought she died.
Is at the beginning of
By-
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, she
Oh,
died.
is it?
She's
I
on
don't,
the
I
ship.
don't remember.
She was captured by
Yeah.
Grievous and got stabbed
Ah,
by him because she was
got
just
it.
kind of standing there like Shakti. And he
Was there a
stabs her.
version where she died in the temple?
I don't think so.
So that person might
Not
have
that
been
I remember.
mistaken.
No,
I
I mean, I
I
don't
go
know.
through
She's died, like, a
Twitter
bunch of
relying
times,
on what
yeah.
these people say.
I could also be mistaken. So yeah. So Shakti dies so many times. She has that
Yeah.
scene. She dies in like Force Unleashed.
Yeah, she dies in
like
Force Unleashed.
yeah, they
Sadly.
just keep killing her. But yeah, so I assume she's not alive, but
Maybe.
but they get back to Camino and they go to like their barracks on Camino and it's a mess.
But he has a black and
Smells.
red tuca.
Yes,
Mhm.
he has
Yeah,
Lula.
really
I love
want it.
Lula.
I really,
Lula.
really want. I might. Yes. I want to make my own maybe, but I also don't know how to sew, so we'll figure that
Oh
out.
no, this is all glue gun. It's all glue gun.
it
It was the fastest way I could do it because sewing would take me forever.
yeah, I want one so
Just-
bad. It's so
Oh,
cute.
and for the listeners, because obviously they can't see the screen, but I did my own little Lula doll, and she's so snuggly. I love her.
Just so everybody knows, Luli Talasola is a cool character in the High Republic Adventures.
She is.
Oh.
Who
Very
doesn't
cool
look
character.
anything like the doll, but now there's
Yeah, I
two
was gonna
Lulas.
similar similar
Oh,
name.
so her name is Lula.
Her name is Lula, yeah.
Oh, that's
The comic is really good. I just got a new issue today, comic book day.
But yeah, I love that Wrecker has that, and I know Zoe and I were talking about how
When everyone else was late, we were talking about
Yes.
it. Just saying.
we were talking about how there's
Who?
how it's very tropey, but in a good way.
But I like that he was like punching people, like he was punching Crosshair with it. He's like,
Yeah,
with the stuff
it's a
down.
very like sibling thing,
Yeah.
like you just like hit your sibling with a toy and it's like,
That was dope.
yeah, it's very great. I love
Yeah.
their little dynamic. It's so much fun.
It's interesting to see like their interactions with Crosshair start to diminish as the episode
Yeah.
goes. So like the last, I'm jumping ahead, but the last thing you see
Mhm.
is when he tosses his what's it, the
Toothpick.
toothpick away,
Yeah.
and it's like that's not Crosshair
Oh,
anymore.
when they walk in the room, he literally like reaches and grabs a little toothpick from his toothpick pack. Like it's got to be on his, like, because they go in and they all kind of go sit down and the camera pans around and then he like reaches down and like grabs one and I was like, which box is his toothpick box? Which one has the toothpicks, Crosshair?
yeah.
What if you would just put an ammo in your mouth? What happens?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that little scene, but then they have to go and it's like basically in like the auditorium and they have to watch Palpatine's speech from Revenge of the Sith. And
Mhm. And
I just-
Tech is texting.
yeah,
At
it's
the
like
meeting.
texting. It's and I love when Palpatine's like, I've been scarred and deformed, and Wrecker's like, yeah. Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
I just find it funny because like it reminds me of like an elementary school assembly where you would just go and see where your friends are and like interact with them and everyone else is staying in line.
Yeah.
School assembly.
Yeah. And it is like a little bit, I don't want to say like scary, but like I feel like in the Clone Wars we see a lot of the clones having more like personality and like having their helmets off, and this they're like all a lot more uniform and like standing at attention, and then
Mhm.
like Palpatine's like our galactic empire, and they all except for the Bad Batch
Yeah.
cheer, and it's like, oh no.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
But
just
also
so
they're, like-
sad.
Yeah.
It like most of their armor was newer armor, so it's like they're all shinies. A lot of
Yeah.
them too, so they probably haven't been on the front lines. And then what Coruscant, what are shock troopers doing here? Why are the Coruscant guards? So like those guys haven't been on the front lines. They've been in the Republic, like, so they haven't been with the Jedi like some of the clones that we know who have
Mhm.
developed like really cool personalities
Yeah, that's
because
Yeah.
they're friends with Anakin Skywalker
Yeah.
or whoever.
Yeah. It's sad.
Voss's clone would have lightsabers.
I don't
Okay.
I don't know if they could.
He'd be like, hey, I'm gonna pass these out. You just hand it to the guy next to you. and
He takes like a
Pass him
little
back,
he
pass
like
him back.
he like stows away on like the kids field trip to Ilum and just like sneaks in and like starts taking all the kyber crystals.
I want you guys to be really careful. You got to be really aware of your surroundings. Don't stand too close together. But yes, we are going to cut droids into pieces.
Yeah. But then after the speech, Tarkin arrives, and he's wearing his like flappy pants, and he goes down with the shock troopers, and he just looks very mean because he's
as
Tarkin.
usual.
Yeah, that's his face.
I do like when like Echo is like, oh, it's Tarkin, and they're like, yeah, isn't that when you like and Wrecker's like blew up. And
Yeah,
he's
I know.
like, yeah.
I was so ashamed.
When I
I
blew up.
forgot that Echo knew Tarkin. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god, of course
Uh-huh.
he does. I was so ashamed of myself.
Resting
did you
Tarkin
died?
face.
When you
Yeah,
that's
poor
a bit-
Echo.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not Echo. I hope Echo gets to do more later, because I felt like he didn't do very much this episode.
I think
I
like
think
with
he
the,
will.
I'm
think-
sure he will, but like
it seems like the dynamic is gonna shift, like especially with Crosshair gone. And I kind of always felt like the dynamic of the Bad Batch was like, okay, the hunter guy and the like techie guy and the strong guy and the like, and I'm like, well, now like with Echo, there's like 2 hacker guys. Why are there 2 hacker guys? But like Echo's a hacker guy, and Tech is more of like an analyst kind of like guy.
Yeah.
But I like that they're like different, like because in the other one they didn't really spend too. I mean, we didn't spend too much time with Echo in the actual crew, so they didn't really have time to like differentiate their stuff. They got to the thing and Echo hacked into the thing, and I was like, okay, well he's hacking today with his hacker arm.
I keep
Um,
thinking of
It's
the
funny to
dog.
think about. Yeah, it's
Echo.
funny to think about Tech as like more of the software guy, and Echo is more of the hardware guy.
Yeah, but he's almost like
just-
he's like an analyst too.
yeah,
Like he's
Yeah.
like, well, there's a
true.
72% chance, and we need to go to the bubble. Perhaps they moved our thing
he's
to the
like their
hangar or
protocol
whatever.
droid.
Yeah,
Oh
basically.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting too, though, because I don't know if they'll address this or not, but like all of like a lot of like what made Echo really like I guess like useful in the Bad Batch arc was that he had all the separatist knowledge, and now the separatists are gone. So like, is he as like useful anymore?
Yeah,
And like
But
how's
he
that
had the
going to
Republic
change?
knowledge too.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like him and like even in Rebels when Rex is talking about the codes, he's like, me and Echo. Oh no, I guess he says me and Cody. Darn. There goes my talking point.
It's okay. It's okay. No, I understand. I just wonder like how, if that's going to be like a thing or not. It probably
Right.
won't. But yeah, so Tarkin shows up, and he's very Tarkin, and then they all go to the cafeteria.
As soon as they get to the cafeteria,
Oh, at the-
Axel's
yeah.
like, yo, food fight. This is the food fight. And I was like, yes.
But I
they're
love
in a
I love
cafeteria.
Omega and how she
Yeah,
introduces
she's so cute.
herself.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
does-
Omega,
At
remember?
the assembly. Yeah,
In
at
the
the assembly, they
hallway?
see her up front
Right.
with the
Yeah.
Kaminoans. What do you guys say?
I said
Kaminoans.
Kaminoans.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. The
Like,
vowel changes a bit
anyway.
when you like make it longer.
Yeah.
English.
And then she disappears, and we're like, oh. And then we see her in the hallway, and she introduces herself to them, and she's just so small and so cute.
Mhm.
And then she like introduces herself again to
Yeah.
them.
And
at
she
the
also
cafeteria.
introduces them to her. She's like, Hunter, Echo, Tick.
Yeah, she knows all of them, and she just sits. Yeah, she
does.
just like sits down though, and they all just kind of stare at her, and they're like, "What?"
I
Because
thought
like
it
no
was
one
so
else,
cute. Yeah,
no one else
wants to
sits
sit
with them because they're like the weird ones.
Yeah.
which
Mm-hmm.
The other clones are very hostile to them, and I'm curious because we haven't seen much of them before, because we know there was some kind of like tension, I guess, between them and like the regs, but like I wonder how much of this now is like the chips and how much is like how the clones already were with them, because like we can definitely tell from this and the Clone Wars that the clones become a lot more like meaner and like dedicated to like conformity after the chips are activated. So like I wonder how much of that hostility is manufactured,
It doesn't seem to be too much, especially given what happened in the arc before with was it Kicks? No, not Kicks. Hard Case. No, not Hard Case. I forget. Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
they start like that. There's tension between them. We're regulars and you guys are supposedly elite, but you're weird.
Yeah. Well, part of that too though was like in that arc, like especially Crosshair was like really rude to them about being regulars.
Yeah.
Where in this episode it wasn't as mutual. you know,
Uh,
like it felt more one-sided, like it was just kind of like the regs like going after them.
It was like they
You
were
know?
all Crosshair.
got
Yeah,
it.
right.
Yeah.
And
Except
like
Crosshair.
yeah, but I don't know, they eat their lunch, and then Omega actually starts the food fight. She throws
Right.
the
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
I-
I was
I-
like,
like,
call
yeah.
names.
I
She's
love that.
standing on the table. She was just like, what?
I love that Omega initially she came off as a super fan. Like I thought, oh my gosh, she's a fangirl of the Bad Batch. And I just thought that was super adorable. But it wasn't until this particular scene that I thought, oh, she likes the Bad Batch, not only because of what we discover about her later on, but because she feels, you know, like the weird one in the facility. And to
Mhm.
see that there are others like her, she feels like I finally have someone here to be
Yeah.
with. Like I can't imagine how lonely she feels on Camino.
It was very much like a really good connection to the other moment with Echo. It's like, you know, well, if you don't feel that you belong with them, there's
Mm.
always a place for you here. You know, we don't do all those accolades, you know, but if you can't fit with them anymore, you're different like us.
Yeah.
Come. Where different people hang out. And they also let her sit down.
Yeah,
But
so that
they-
was really sweet of her to like defend them.
Yeah,
Like,
and then
Yeah.
the
I'm
clone
defending you
calls
guys.
her a name, and
Yeah.
then Wrecker throws a whole tray right
Yeah.
at their backs.
They have their whole food fight, and Crosshair tries to like stay out of it and just sit, but is
No.
it Crosshair? Yeah, he just keeps eating, and
Yeah,
eventually,
until
like,
his food is removed from him.
yeah, it kind of reminded me of like the food fight scene in the Clone Wars with like Obi-Wan and like Boba Fett.
Oh yeah.
And it's so
And
funny.
Bosk.
I
And
love
it's-
that scene.
It's funny to think about that. It's not the first time this has happened.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that for food. Like, I just think it's so funny because Boba Fett just like slaps the tray out of his hands, and Obi-Wan just stares at him for a minute. It's like the funniest thing in the world. Yeah, but they have their food fight, and like Tarkin's watching, and he just looks all disapproving. And then later they get called to like, and they think they're gonna go to his office, and they're like, "Oh, we're in trouble." And Omega, she's so sweet. She's like, "It was my fault. Like, I need to go and like take responsibility," but they don't let her. And I guess it's good she didn't go with them because it ends up being a battle simulation.
Yeah.
Well, I like how they're like walking and they're like, it's that way. What? Oh, okay. You're in trouble. Get to the
Yeah,
principal's
they're
office.
like-
The
they're
principal's over
lost.
there. Oh, wait, I have to go. Okay, he's over there.
Yeah. But so they have their little battle simulation with these like the little droids and like the
Mhm.
training blasters and stuff. And it's very, you know, reminiscent of
American Gladiators.
Oh yeah.
uh,
I used to love that
I
show.
love
I
it
don't-
so much.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
But
no.
the
Oh, we
other
feel so old. No.
but the one episode of Clone Wars, the Domino
the
Squad.
Domino Squad.
Domino Squad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's called
Clone
Citadel.
Cadets. Clone Cadets was it?
Yeah, Clone Cadets is the episode, and they have
Yeah.
their training thing, and like they're like, you guys
Oh
need
my
to work
God.
together.
I thought it was such baloney. They literally, so they're going in and they're gonna shoot all these people, and they're doing really well. And then Tarkin's like, "Yeah, I don't care. Just make it live fire." And you know, the Kaminoans like, "Well, they might die, and that'll mess up my facility." You know,
Yeah.
Tarkin's
The
like,
Camino
"It's
is like,
fine."
but what about property damage?
Tarkin's like, "It's fine," and then they expect them to destroy these.
They didn't even warn them.
Robots.
They didn't even go on
No,
like the
they didn't
intercom
warn
and
them.
be like, "We're gonna start
Or-
live fire." They just
or
did
give
it.
them like
They just
weapons
shot
that'll
Wrecker.
actually kill
Yeah, they
them.
just straight
It
up
just
shot
stuns
Wrecker.
them.
Yeah.
They only have weapons to stun the droids, but it doesn't even stun them. It doesn't do
No.
anything.
They're so
Mhm.
mean.
So
Yeah,
they
but
just go in
so
and rip it
because they
apart.
destroy all the like training droids, and it's like,
Yeah.
yay, they work so well as a team, and then they start the live fire, and then
I was so frustrated for them.
yeah. But I thought it was cool, and maybe I'm just like crazy, but I thought the live fire droids it looked a little bit like the droids from The Mandalorian,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like their head shape and stuff.
A little bit. They look more like the ones from Rebels when they had like the ones that Tarkin would train. Tarkin, Thrawn. The ones that Thrawn would train
yeah.
against.
Oh yeah.
I forgot about those droids.
Mhm.
Remember
You're
when
right.
Ezra cut a hole in the door and he was like, "See how cool I am?" And then the droid walked through it later, and they were like, "Shut the door." Uh-oh.
Yeah, Thrawn
Was that
beats
the
them up,
Wickanthu
too.
job?
That was the Winkathu job.
Yeah. Wow,
God, that
I
was
forgot
so
about
funny.
this.
That was genuinely
Friendship
hilarious.
is the greatest treasure.
Yeah, oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, but they have their little battle simulation, and they do take out. I really liked, because one thing I loved about the Bad Batch like arc was like the scenes of them like using each other's strengths and like working super well as a team together.
Mhm,
So it was like really
mhm.
cool to see that again. I love the maneuver they do where they throw the knife and Crosshair shoots it and it like goes into the head. I was like, that's so cool.
Tech is
Yeah.
so fast.
It's so
So
dope.
that he's just so strong and so fast. But like that's my so whenever I play a game and it's like, oh, you can have like the really like buff character that can like destroy things, or you can have it kind of just like the entire squad. You can have the buff guy, the guy that's good at sniping, and like Hunter that does something. I don't remember what his
He tracks
power
Senses
is.
things.
electromagnetic
Tracks, I guess.
signals.
He
Yeah.
does things.
Cool.
He does. He
He's
looks
more
great.
accurate than a map.
Yes. But then there's Tech, and like I always go for the fast character, and it's just I really love Tech. He's great. Yeah, Tech is cool. I like Tech. But anyway, continue on.
I'm actually Wrecker. Like I identified with him a lot in this episode, especially when Tech would like go over his head and start talking about something that
I
he
thought
just
was
didn't
so
understand.
Cute, yeah.
Like that, I was just like, oh my God, Wrecker, we're the same person. We're the same
really,
person. And then you have a Tuca doll. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Wrecker was just so cute because like I'm not that much into like clones and stuff, but he's just so laid back, but he's also like just funny in general, whether he's being dumb or he's just actually funny. And he's great. And he has a Tuca doll.
I liked how
like,
like they'd start doing
characteristic.
hand signals and Wrecker's like, I hate hand signals. Because like
Know any of them?
me too.
No, he's like, why don't you just memorize them? I have.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah,
good.
totally
Yeah.
get him.
Yeah, the battle simulation was really cool. And then they have the next thing is they get assigned to go to Onderon. And as soon as I said Onderon, I was like, already?
Mhm.
Because we knew they'd see Saw and probably go to Onderon, but I didn't know it was gonna be like right in the premiere. I was like, all right.
To put down the separatist insurgents.
Yeah, and then we get to Onderon and Crosshair's like ready to kill him, but Hunter's like, those are our children.
All right.
And,
Goodbye,
like, an old lady.
Grandma.
Yeah, there's like a really old lady, and Crosshair's like ready to kill him, and Hunter's like, no, wait a second. But
Sooner we
it's
do
not
this,
Crosshair's fault.
Sooner
It's
we
not,
go home.
Crosshair's having a hard time. It's not his fault.
Well, I also didn't like Crosshair to begin with.
But he's just
But
be
also,
nice.
I was also like Omega later, who's like, "It's okay, it's not your fault," and that was a really. Cute.
I just
really
like
got me.
snipers, so I like Crosshair.
Were you genetically engineered to be more of a jerk? Or you just did they add jerkiness in your profile? Where are the jerk genes? And how much extra did they give you?
Yeah. He's
Yeah. Anyway, they get to Underon and they end up like talking to Saul, and
Sal Guerrero.
Sal Guerrero. And they talk to him, and Saul's kind of like, like explaining stuff, I guess, because like they don't really know. It's not like they're getting access to like unbiased reports of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like they don't really know.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop off. And
Hi, Lizzy.
yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Bye.
We'll talk later.
Lula says bye.
Wow. She's so cute. Okay, I had a lot of fun. Whatever, talk without me. Whatever.
I'm sorry, Lizzy. Bye. Oh. So on Andra, I'm trying to think what else happens.
So they go and they end up talking to Saul, and he's like, "Do we look like warriors?" And it looks like they're like refugees.
Yeah, I mean,
And
some of them are
Hunter's like-
warriors.
Yeah, I mean,
Some of
it's
them have
some of
guns.
Saul's people, but like, it's not like clearly there's a mixture, and clearly they're trying to help people.
Yeah,
I love
and
his,
Hunter's like, what? His haircut?
I love his subtle mention of Stila when he talks about how everything we've lost, and he like looks off to the side, and you can tell that that's what he's thinking about. it'd be worthless, everything that they've done if they don't do anything. And I found that, before I had like a very I wouldn't say negative opinion about him, but I always associated him with an extremist approach. And like it was very interesting to see him at this early stage and then have him be the one who actually has reason. Like you're supposed to have your question your political leaders and make them accountable for their actions, and nobody's really doing that in the galaxy, and he's the only one who's like, at least in this area where he's where he's acknowledging that there's something wrong and that they need to do something about it. And a lot of people have just become complacent, and I just like, that's very interesting to see, and it's something I admire, I think.
I really like I don't think it's a secret that he's one of my favorite characters, and not necessarily because I agree with everything that he does, but I also like respect his determination and his passion to move forward, because sometimes that's what you need. It's so I like really like seeing this Saw, and I like going back to the beginning and see like, because I like journeying with these characters as we talked before through all of these different mediums and all these different stories. Real quick, like I'm putting together little pieces for the website, and it's called What We Grow Beyond, and I did the first one on Hera, and it was sort of about Hera and how we've seen her journey through like Rebels and Alphabet Squadron and the video games, and like she's been in Forces of Destiny, and like watching her grow and watching her change throughout these mediums. And like the next piece is coming out next week, and it's about Saw, so we're really lucky that this came out today and he's in episode 1, because I got to like fill in a couple of gaps. But like watching his journey, like from Clone Wars through like where he shows up in Jedi Fallen Order, through like, where he starts getting radicalized at the beginning, even in Rebels, where he's like working with them, but still like they don't agree with him all the time, to he's at odds and opposing the Rebel Alliance,
right?
While still fighting for them to become something what they need to be, like, and calling out Mon Mothma on the things that she won't do, or the weaknesses that he perceives that are holding her back, which at this time she is being held back. Like she won't even help Ezra, like, or they're too scared to do anything. To where he ends up in Rogue One. But like there's a lot of like really cool story things there, and they also like lead to, that's a character that has a little bit of more of a legacy than you would think. Like even after Rogue One, there are things that happen in Saw's name for like decades to come in some of the other stories. And like that kind of leadership and that kind of person that like really breaks through the storytelling is something I find really fascinating. I love Saw Gerrera. I love the performance. It was Andrew Kashino again, a young Saw, as it should be. So that was really, really cool to see him back. Back to like, I'm Saw Gerrera. The galaxy's changing. You can either change with it or whatever happens next. Well, I really like Saw.
Yeah, he is really a great character, and I like seeing this earlier stage of his character. I also used the wrong word earlier. I think it's just because it's late and my brain can't function, but I said complacent. But what's the word when people just accept what's happening and they don't?
That's complacent.
I mean,
is
complacent
or
apathetic.
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 Like any one of those.
I wish I had a dictionary in my head. I wish I was tech.
If only I could type words into a thing and it would show me. No, I don't know.
I was trying to. I was like, but Sal, your thing was so compelling that I was like, Look, what? Screw it. Just let me put it down.
I know I'm no Saw Gerrera.
You're Sal Gerrera.
I'm not a leader like that. I'm Sal. You Saw Gerrera? I'm the pilot. Yeah, I just find like, and like I said, like I think what draws me to a lot of these characters, especially characters like Saw, is that depth and that like complexity that I find interesting. Because even though like I said, I don't always agree with what he did and what he does, but I can understand him and how he got there, and I can like sort of sometimes like respect that, even though he almost killed Ezra and Sabine. but there's
He like does a whole massacre in Rebel Rising, and it's like,
Yeah,
what?
well, I wasn't worried about those apathetic people on that planet.
Well,
We're
they're
like,
still
well,
people.
no, but no, I understand. I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying it's a specific thing to call out Ezra as the
Yeah.
one that got shot.
Yeah.
And
It's interesting to see a character who's like who has faults, like, and
Mhm.
visibly faults, and not just hiding
Right.
not just hiding them like how other people are in the Star Wars galaxy.
And also it's
Mhm.
interesting to see a character that's wrong, but
Yeah.
sometimes he's not wrong.
Yeah.
Like when he
Yeah.
calls Mon Mothma out, like he's right sometimes too. Like you are too complacent and you are going to lose this war unless you do something bold. And what happens? Admiral Raddus takes out from Scarif without your permission and stuff gets done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if they would have had it their way, nothing would have happened and the rebellion would have been destroyed.
Mhm.
And
I
Saul
think
was
that's
right.
something we see. I just read literally today. I just read Poe Dameron Freefall, and I think that's like her because she's like becomes the chancellor, and that's something we see a little bit in like with New Republic stuff. Is like
Mhm.
Mon Mothma's kind of sliding back into that
Yeah.
and losing
like,
that like fire that she had in like the original trilogy times.
Mhm.
Where's
Mhm.
that fire? Where's that passion when your people need it most?
Oh,
You keep
so
fighting
good.
on the Empire's terms, you are going to lose.
So good.
Like, but he is a good leader and he's like inspiring with his words because he hits you with that truth. Like,
yeah.
there's a part in Jedi Fallen Order, like, and I keep going back to that because he's like, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to take this thing, like, and then they get to the end and like they rescue the people and he's like, dark days, but the fire still burns. Hope still burns. The Jedi are not yet lost. We are not yet lost. Like, I just love Saw Gerrera's like his honesty and passion burn through. And some of it is these performances, and a lot of it is his actions.
Yeah. Agreed. For sure. It was really, we didn't see like very much of him, like wasn't the scene
Yeah.
wasn't that long, but it was still,
Yeah.
he has a lot of presence
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
there.
for sure.
And
Yeah,
as he
and-
should, because he inspires people.
Yeah.
Look at
And
me.
it definitely struck a chord with Hunter especially, but all of them really,
Exactly.
except Crosshair. But he's going through it.
Yeah.
When
Oh, you
that
mean-
when that light goes off and it's just completely dark, like the lighting in those scenes was just spectacular. Like I was just blown away
It looked amazing.
but it, like, part of the light was on Hunter's eyes and the light was on the other side for Crosshair, and it was just like, Joel, Aaron, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was
They crushed it. with all of
spectacular.
that.
Yeah, it was so good. And they head back, and then there's the probe droid. So like Tarkin was
Mhm.
watching them because I'm sure he suspected they weren't gonna go through with it.
Well,
And-
before we kind of missed this before, but when Tarkin's talking about testing them, he's like, we've got a report from one of their own that they didn't
Right.
do Order 66. So you're like, oh, you got that extra jerk on today, huh, Crosshair? Uh-huh.
he's chipped.
Did
Leave
you
him alone.
forget to take your anti-jerk pills?
Leave him alone.
So sad.
Yeah, but so then so they shoot the probe droid, and they're like, well, Tarkin knows what we did now, and but they still go back to Camino because they want to save Omega. Because I think at this point we miss this too. Tech says, he says like, oh, Tarkin said, or someone said that there were 5 like extraordinary clones or whatever,
Right.
and they're like, well, they probably thought they meant Echo, but
Mhm.
Echo isn't, like not like biologically, I guess.
He's a secret
No, not
rig.
biologically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Omega is the 5th special clone of who we don't know.
She had, and
Um,
I like that he said that she has heightened awareness,
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
has made some people think, is she force sensitive? I don't know,
Well,
but yeah.
Someone said to me, they said they thought maybe she could be a clone of Fennec Shand, just because she had really good aim, which I don't know how much that has, but that would be interesting just because we know Fennec Shand, but I don't really think she doesn't
They
look
said-
like
I
Fennec
mean,
Shand.
They basically say she's a clone of Django, right? Because they said
They
like,
don't say of Django, they say
well,
clone.
when they say like blah 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 blah, well, we have 5 enhanced clones. Like, I mean,
they
it
don't say
sounds like-
Django.
But they
I
don't.
guess
They don't say Django.
They don't
no.
say Django.
So it could be a completely different donor,
All they
or
produce in
they
that facility. I don't know.
I mean, well,
Or-
there is in Pirate's Price, there is like a rogue Kaminoan scientist who has a detail of
That's
female
way later,
clones
right?
of the same person. It's not long after because it's like pre like Solo. So it's like a
Well,
few years later. And so he
a
has
little
these
while after
fully
they lost their Republic contracts.
right, but like that doesn't mean they're only clone. I don't think they've ever said they're only cloning Django. You know, they have the facilities for sure to at least test clones from other people.
Oh, they're cloners. Damn good ones too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
possible.
And we do know they have a reputation from cloning from Attack of the Clones, like
Yeah.
because they say
Yeah.
like, oh, those are great cloners. So like obviously that's like a thing. So and they probably weren't only known for Django clones. So like
Yeah. No, yeah,
Interesting.
it's I don't know how genetics works, but I'm curious whether
to
they
be
even
fair,
play
I don't
around with
think
it.
I don't think they know how genetics works either. But this guy
but
has
yeah.
the sniper gene.
Well,
Mhm. And the jerk
regardless,
gene.
regardless, it seems that there's some sort of mystery around Omega
Mhm.
that, you know, at least Lama Su and Nala Se lead us to believe that there's something going on. So I'm curious to find out as those series goes on.
Yeah, whoever she's a clone of and whatever's
Yeah.
going on. But they go back to Camino to rescue Omega and they get imprisoned like pretty much right away. They get caught and thrown in like the jail thing. So it didn't go well. And Omega
But they
is
didn't
thrown
fail
in
completely.
yeah, well, Omega's thrown in there with them too, and they all like take their gear, so they're in those weird like clone like bodysuits that makes them all look so like like this isn't these character models were not designed for this.
That's too tight, sir.
Yeah, they are a little
Skin
bit
tight.
better than like the old ones in like the earlier seasons of Clone Wars. You know what I mean? Like they're different like suits, and it's like worse. Like it just looks really weird. But
and
so
I know I was just gonna say that this is probably my favorite scene out of the whole episode, where you see Omega trying to copy off of Hunter, and I think it's the cutest thing ever for her to be doing that.
Yeah, she's like
his little
mimicking.
like chin rest and
Yeah,
you know?
it's so cute. It's like the Spider-Man like from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But we also see her like kind of comforting Crosshair because he's having like headaches, I guess, because like brain chip. And she's like, I know it's not your fault, you're being a jerk, and he doesn't really, he kind of brushes her off. But
oh, did you forget to take your jerk pills? Are you sure you need more?
Yeah. And it is interesting because they don't at least, and we kind of skipped this too, but they don't seem to know about like the chips specifically, because like when they talk about it, Tech says like they've been genetically engineered to be like obedient, and I think he thinks it's just part of like the general like cloning thing, like the same as how they have like the advanced aging, but I don't think they know that it's like a literal chip that can get removed. So we do know they meet with Rex later, who does know, so like hopefully he'll be like, oh yeah, I know what's up with that whole thing.
Yeah, and probably give them hope, maybe false hope, that they could get Crosshair back.
Why does it have to be false hope? Be optimistic.
Nothing turns out the way that you want in Star Wars.
Do they want Crosshair back though?
I want Crosshair back. They need
Crosshair.
They need their sniper guy because they're gonna face.
I got Echo now. I'm good.
He's not a
got
sniper
Omega.
guy.
Like all of the beds are taken.
No, they need a sniper guy because they're gonna face up against Fennec Shand, so they're gonna need another sniper to like.
We can just like take on the little Havoc Marauder on his little bed, just cross it out and put Omega.
No.
And you live there now.
The thing that I'm worried about, and I know that it's going to break me if it goes this way, is that if he dies, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but like if he dies and like the last words he says are like, I'm sorry. Like,
let's be positive, Jonah. Let's be positive.
That's what goes through my mind.
No. Yeah, we're gonna be positive because
peace
like,
out, brothers.
Yeah, let's be positive because like also like if they have like if they get to a point where they have like Where no, but if they get to a point where they have like Fennec Shand and Crosshair hunting them at the same time, they're screwed. Like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no way.
From
Like
far away.
well, I
If
mean,
they
even
drive
up,
a speeder into one of them, I think they'll be all right.
I mean, how did driving speeders at them work for Mando and what's his name? Toro.
Grogu?
They
that's
got
Oh,
fair.
Toro.
they got
yeah.
shot at. They got shot at and almost died.
That's true. Yeah, but there's
So-
only 2 of them. There's 4 of them. They could throw Omega.
I'm sure that would go very well.
I bet Omega would have a blast and don't even say that's not a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway.
Omega would be the first one to be like, this is awesome and you all know it. Throw me.
Yeah. So anyway, while they're in like prison, they take Crosshair and they're like, we're gonna fix this guy's chip.
Mhm.
And it's like they put these things next to his head and they're like, just turn up like the power on the chip and like
Mhm.
it's not very science, but like whatever,
Yeah.
it's Star Wars.
Increase
And-
the jerk.
And so they like zap him and then he gets new armor. He doesn't have his old cool Bad Batch armor anymore.
He still has cool armor though.
It's very cool, but it's not Bad Batch. It's
It is
like,
not Bad Batch. It is not.
yeah, it's like all black and scary.
Now people ask
Um,
him about his face tattoo. I'm like, why is it like different? It used to match my helmet. It was a whole
Because-
look, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was
So while they're
nice.
doing that, they all break out of the prison because they're like, oh, they weren't really meant to be prisons, because this was a cloning facility, not like a military base.
Right.
So Wrecker manages to like hit like just the right spot. And he does. And Omega climbs through and like it's like a whole thing. And she
Yeah,
like
they, like,
falls
kinda-
on top of the clones like from a vent and then like opens the door.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Deactivates ray shields.
Yeah.
And they all get out and then they
And they go get their stuff. And then they're like, we gotta find Crosshair. Then Crosshair finds them. And
Oh, we don't have to go far. I see that's another one where she like looked at the door before he even there's like a couple of times in the show where she sees them coming before they, like so she already saw jerk face through the door before he even came. So I thought that was like cool. Like
Yeah.
she's kind of like, well, I don't know. So far it looks like she's very like aware like Hunter,
Mhm. Yeah, she's very hyper aware. Yeah.
but it seems like way more than Hunter.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and it is a really cool scene with like Crosshair like shooting them because they like take out the other clones, but they can't get him. And that was one thing I was a little worried about because like it's just kind of a thing that like the bad guys just tend to miss unless it's plot convenient, But when you have a character like Crosshair, if he misses all the time, then you're kind of ruining his character. And I think they balanced it really well, where like they can't
Mhm.
just have him like just like kill everyone and be like, all right, show's over, but still like being like he has really good aim and like stressing
Mhm.
that, which I think was really cool and really important because that's something that can be very easy for stuff to mess up.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like how many times you like play a game or something like this is like the cool sniper that like can shoot anything and then they can't and you're like, okay,
I
well,
am not good at the game.
yeah. But that was we did miss too, like when they were getting all their stuff back, Wrecker was like distraught. He's like, where's Lula? And Omega's like, I have him right here. And he's so happy and it's so cute.
Good times.
Yeah.
If Crosshair was still on the team, he would be like, where are my toothpicks?
Oh, the toothpicks. Yeah. But
Omega would be like, right here. And he'd be like, thanks.
yeah. So it's really intense because they're like hiding behind stuff. And Crosshair does shoot. He does like hit
Tech,
him.
right?
Yeah, he hits Tech. You're like, oh no.
No, he hits Wrecker, no?
Is it
Because Tech
Wrecker?
is starting up the ship.
Right,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Tech's in the ship. You're right.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, he hits Wrecker. Wrecker gets hit so many times. in
Yeah,
this
I know.
episode. Poor thing.
Poor
You
guy.
upgrade your armor.
Yeah. And it's really tense. And they end up using like a smoke thing and like when they're leaving, he's gonna shoot them, and then Omega just like picks up the gun and just like shoots them like right
That
away.
was awesome.
Like gets it, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh my god, she's so
Cool.
cool. And she shoots the gun out of his hand, and they leave on their ship.
The Havoc Marauder.
Yes.
I like that ship's name.
Mhm.
It's
But they-
really cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. And they plot a course to J19.
Does anybody know what that is?
I like to think that I have an idea, and I wrote an article about it, but I'm worried if it's too spoilery if it turns out to be right.
Well, we do know besides J19, we know that Hunter says he's like, oh, I know a guy that's gonna help them.
Mhm.
So that could be anyone. We don't really know. But I'm gonna just based off what we have from the trailers, I'm gonna say Rex.
I would like to think it is, but Rex is having all of that
I feel like he might-
craziness with Ahsoka in the Star
Yeah.
Destroyer or whatever it was.
wouldn't be a lot of room for him to be like, yo, we just got like half.
Well, I mean, how much
so-
time has passed? You know,
I think
like
it's
It doesn't
happening
seem
around
like
the same
that long,
time.
right?
yeah, no, right. But like I don't know, it's hard to say.
And if
but-
Rex is going into some sort of hiding, he wouldn't I don't know obviously he might not be sending messages to but if he was
Yeah.
going to send messages, Echo might be the one he sends messages to.
That's true,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Echo didn't say anything. Hunter said it.
Yeah.
I'm just
I
going to
think it's
delete
someone
Cody
different.
off my phone right now.
Yeah, I think it's someone completely different, but maybe someone from their past that we don't
Yeah.
know about yet.
It
If
could
you
be
know what
anyone.
J19 is, it provides a very interesting possibility.
Yes.
What is it? Can
That's a
someone
great way to
tell
put
me?
it.
I feel so out of the loop now. You guys got to say it now.
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
You really want your listeners to know? J19 is a sector of space where Seleucami is.
Okay.
Like, it could be anything, but there's one guy we know that lives on Seleucami
Yes. Interesting.
and knows clones, presumably.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if we should say more than I feel like okay.
This is your podcast, man. I
Let
don't
people
know.
Well,
on.
Yeah, we'll think. So interesting. So yeah, I guess
Are you
we'll see
looking it up?
tomorrow. Yeah, actually I didn't know. He said Slukamai, there's a guy, and I'm like, oh, I know. Huh. Okay. I think it was your article, Jonah, that I just read. So okay. I'm up on it now. All right, cool. I'm in the loop. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean it could be anybody, but that seems like a good possibility.
I mean, Master Voss, the siege of Seleucami, the Seleucami has fallen, and Master Voss has moved his troops to Boss Pity. I don't know how far they got.
I would
mean,
love to see
in
him
theory, they
again,
got farther.
man.
But I'm just saying, what if Voss went back to Seleucami because he also knew a guy? What if they knew the same guy?
Oh my.
Oh man.
I think if Quinlan Voss appeared, I just hear a scream from far away, and I'd be like, it's Voss.
It's Sal reacting.
Like, if anything ever, like it's a good thing they don't like. Thank you. Please call me Lucasfilm to do Voss, because anytime we walk around, where's the jerk? How do there used to be 5 of you, but I'm guessing the jerk left. How do we get him? Do we start now?
Oh man.
He got a different helmet, right? Describe it to me. Point him out.
Yeah.
I used to give you guys lightsabers. Do you have any left?
they threw them all. They used them they use the knives to like throw and shoot. They just threw the lightsabers and shot them.
Oh, my cheeks hurt.
Oh man. Well, I'm excited for Friday. We're 2 days away. Yeah, they left us on a good little cliffhanger there. And I wonder if it'll be like the Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian is like, oh, you got to go here and see the Jedi, and then he doesn't make it. He doesn't make it. And
Dave Filoni shot us down.
And it's like 3 more episodes until he like finally gets to the place, and they're like, actually, you need to go somewhere else now. It's like,
okay. So after talking it through with everyone, I do still love this premiere, but I think I'm gonna put Rebels back up there.
All right.
Yeah. And then it comes very close.
As it should be.
It's always close.
Yes, I'm on everyone's good side again.
Everything is beautiful.
I still do
Rebels
love this
is
premiere.
just more beautiful.
I love this premiere, but I do still have to put the Clone Wars movie above it just because Ahsoka's in it. And Ahsoka being in something just inherently elevates it. most of the time.
I don't know.
Most
Yes,
of
thank you.
the
Most of the time. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying.
We did that already. That was a while ago. Yeah, it's a good episode. After talking with you guys, I'm less upset about the opening. So
Oh.
that was
Yes,
good.
me too. Me too.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't love it, but like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um,
It always helps to get it out there and talk it out.
yeah, it's nice to discuss it, and like in person, not like on Twitter where you just like express an opinion. People are like, I hate you. It's like, okay, I'm sorry.
I have taken my anti-jerk pills and I'm feeling much better about this.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'm looking forward to lots of things. They said there was like some interview, and like I didn't read the whole thing because I'm lazy, but like essentially the quote that I saw was they said like there's going to be a lot of cameos. So we already saw Saw, and we already know Fennec and Rex, but that doesn't feel like a lot. So like we'll see. I guess Tarkin too, but like we'll see who else turns up. Maybe it will be Quinlan Voss. That would be very exciting.
It would be.
Mostly for you.
Well, I would be the most excited.
Someone I would love to see Dryden Voss, the other Voss.
The other Voss.
Just because
they spell his name wrong in the Solo subtitles. I went to a Solo watch party and on Disney Plus they spell his name with one S when he's the one with two S's. And I'm like,
oh, is it
Voss? Yeah, he has two S's, right?
Oh no. I submitted
no,
it
he
with
doesn't.
the wrong. I'm sorry,
because hold on, I need to double check. I thought he had two S's. No, he doesn't.
Oh,
why did I think he had two S's?
You're talking about Kendo Voss, who is the leader of the
I don't know
Kendo
who that
gang.
is, so I'm not talking about them.
Well, if you type it in, that's what you're talking about because you're not talking about Dryden Voss.
I'm mad. I could have sworn he had two S's.
Jar Jar's
that's Boss Nass.
Boss Nass.
Does he have
two S's?
Look, I am an expert on things that end in os in Star Wars.
Well, I don't think Boss is his name. I think that's his title because he's the boss.
Yeah, it is because later in Clone Wars it's Boss Leone, remember?
Yeah.
Oh man, I never thought of that. I just thought that was his first name.
Yeah, that's his title.
Yeah.
Just like the other guy, I think his actual title is Bomb Bad General.
Oh.
No, I don't know if it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh no, he's Captain.
Yeah. No. Oh, he does have two S's.
There are things I never really give thought to that I'm just like, okay.
Yeah. I could have sworn the other Voss had two S's.
Only Kendo Voss.
I don't know who that is. That means nothing to me.
Well.
Oh, I'm upset at myself now. Oh well. Yeah. Yeah, Dryden Voss would be cool. I think Barris Offie, just not for this show, just I want to see her. I want to know what's up. But she could turn up, She's
cool.
she's out there. Maul is out there, that would be scary.
Well, I mean, if you find Dryden, that's not much further.
It would be really kind of not funny, but like kind of funny if they kind of meet up with Maul and like don't know any of his like Sith stuff, and you're like, oh yeah, dude, and they just kind of work with him because I'm sure they'll be kind of delving into like the criminal underworld of stuff now that they're like on the run. Yeah, so like he could just help them as like a crime boss and not at all as like.
You know who else likes the underworld? There's a guy. There is a guy who like the underworld is kind of his thing.
So you gotta put the mute button.
Yeah.
I would love it.
That's it, right? That's it. No more. No.
One day you just see the episode guide and it's like the Bad Batch goes to a gala undercover to like this is it. They're gonna to reconnect with an old contact.
They specifically go through the world between worlds back to the gala solely so we can see Gala Boss's outfit. And
but
then
all
come
it
back
is
and
like
that's
rotating 360 degrees. It's just the boss character sheet.
And then they come back and act like it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah. There's a lot of people that could show up because this is a very like active point, I guess, in the timeline. So like
that said, I don't want too many people to pop up. I don't want, and I still need to rewatch season 2 of The Mandalorian just to like get over some things that I have with it. But that felt like there were too many people.
I agree, and I don't want it to
want it to be
overwhelmed.
that. Yeah.
I think in general, and maybe I know things are always changing, but I feel like Clone Wars and Rebels, and especially Resistance, were very good about cameos.
I feel like
Because like Rebels has a lot, but it never
served the purpose. I
yeah,
think.
it doesn't feel imposing like they did sometimes in Mando season 2. And I think I have faith in Lucasfilm Animation. I think that they'll be able to do the same thing again with that kind of thing.
like I think it always comes down to like the story, the purpose, and the character. Because like sometimes, like a lot of people, or I don't know, like when you see people complaining about cameos, it's like, oh, they just brought, I don't know, Ahsoka in because they wanted people to see, because everybody like. So okay, fine. When you're gonna bring in Ahsoka, make sure it's for a good reason. If you're gonna do that, or whatever, like it's usually bigger characters that people have a problem. Oh, why was such and such friends with Ezra? Why not? Fool? Like everybody, he's amazing. Why would you not be his friend? But like it's the story and what it means and how it like thematically pays off. Because a lot of the stuff in Rebels paid off in a really, really good way for Ezra's story and him learning about people in the galaxy and like the Hondo stuff and the Rex stuff that like had him like really decide what choice he's gonna go like as he matured. Like those were really, really good. Like that's like a thematic lesson that goes to the core of Ezra's character, which is why you bring in a character like Hondo, or what it wasn't just like, hey, the later when Hondo showed up and he was friends, it was like, hey, look, it's Hondo again, man, I love that guy. But like when he first shows up, there was a very like specific thematic element that gave Ezra growth that I liked it. I also liked it later when they showed up and it was Hondo, and I was like, it's Hondo again. But
and I loved how Ezra's face was so happy and the rest of the crew.
I think like some of the Mando stuff, like the stuff that I liked, because it's kind of the same thing for Mando. Mando's a Mando, but apparently he doesn't know a lot about Mandos. So like him meeting all these different quote unquote Mandos and even non-Mandos or Mandos like that reflected on his character.
Right.
And I'm curious, but I just don't think it's gonna pay off until season 3.
Yeah. I think too with Bad Batch that I think will help it over how I felt about the stuff in Mandalorian is that it's gonna have like I think it's supposed to have like a ton of episodes like this season, like not like a ton like a standard season, but like Mandalorian gets 8 episodes a season, where this we know there's gonna be it's gonna be more full, so like you have more room to like have a couple episodes and then a cameo, a couple episodes and a cameo, because for Mandalorian it's kind of like cameo. It's like right, and I think having more room I think is gonna help them a lot.
Very good conversation, you guys.
Yeah.
This is fun.
A lot to look forward to. This is a really good episode. I'm excited for the rest of the series.
I need more Dad Hunter moments.
I think that's one thing you don't have to worry about not getting.
Yeah, I think that's guaranteed at this point.
That is like when I saw this episode, I was like, oh, it's happening like right now.
It's happening.
Little Omega rest the chin on the fist. Okay, and then okay, I'm gonna do a hand signal.
I think it'll be interesting to see like as we go on how that dynamic with like the rest of them kind of fleshes out, because like while Omega did like interact with all of them, it was mostly like Hunter.
Well, it's very clear that she's like latched on to Hunter for whatever reason.
So like it'll be interesting to see like what her dynamic is like with Tech and with Echo and with Wrecker, you know, and see what that's like, and see how things change without Crosshair, you know, like I mentioned earlier, like they have these cool battle scenes where they like work really well together, and like now that they don't have their sniper, are they gonna fail more often? Because we haven't really seen them fail yet ever, you know, and now that they've lost this core member that was there since the beginning, are they gonna mess up? Are they gonna be like, oh, we'll shoot this thing and then realize like, wait, none of us can really
Omega,
do that,
right?
You know?
You need to train your sniper skills, Omega.
Yeah, so I was wondering whether, you know, in the heat of the moment, Hunter would call out for Crosshair to, you know, step in, but you know, he's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, that would hurt.
Because like it'd be one thing, like, and I still love Echo, but like it'd be one thing if they like lost Echo, but like he hasn't been part of that core 4 since the beginning, where like
Yeah, yeah.
Hunter, Echo or Tech Crosshair Wrecker were like all
Yeah.
for like
They lost a founding member of the band.
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes things and how how things happen differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see Cody.
Oh
Mention
yeah.
that. I really want to
Cody.
see.
Wanna see Cody
There
get
was
shot.
one tweet. There was a tweet where they said something about how if we see Cody, I bet he's going to die, and I couldn't help but think of you. And I thought, oh my god,
I
that
love
would be
Commander Cody
so
'cause
devastating.
I got attached to Commander Cody because when me and Safi would play with our Clone Wars action figures, she would always pick Rex first, and she was a little sister, so I couldn't hit her. So I had to play with Cody. And like eventually I just got really attached to Cody because of that.
Aw, well, I hope nothing
so-
happens to him.
No, if something happens, that's okay. If it's good for the story. I'm not attached to him the same way I'm like Ahsoka or like Kanan.
Oh, I see. Got
like
it.
He
if
knows a
Kanan,
jerk when she sees
if-
one.
if Ahsoka or Kanan die, I'd be really sad. But like if Cody dies, it's like, well, if it works, it's fine.
Got it.
Yeah, good thing, Kanan didn't die. Yeah, so I'm excited to see.
Wait.
I'm excited to see what's in store for us. I really want to see Cody. We're going to see Rex, so like we could get, because I know people were like, when Rebels was airing, we're like, well, could we have like a Rex Cody like reunion confrontation, and maybe we'll get that with this. It'll be
Maybe.
interesting.
Interesting.
And maybe we'll see some of the early Inquisitors. Because
Maybe.
they're gonna be like working on starting to found that soon. So
Okay, but there's comics, y'all. Like, make sure y'all look at the comics. Just saying.
yeah, we'll see how it goes. Maybe they'll like just disregard an entire comic series per episode, and then we'll just get more and more mad. Each podcast episode we do is 20 minutes. Being, I can't believe they got rid of this comic book. Yeah. Yeah. Sal, did you turn all the lights off? You're like
No,
shrouded in darkness.
No, but it's just getting darker as the podcast gets later and later. Now I am nothing.
Guess that's it, right?
Like,
I think
yeah.
we pretty much
Yeah.
covered it all.
We're good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry to keep you, especially Jonah, so late, and for Sal to make you miss dinner. I'm very sorry.
I should have pre-prepared.
Time zones are hard. Yeah. Well, I guess we can do all the plug thingies. Right? Right? We did I cut out we can do like the plugs and stuff at the end. Yeah.
Mhm.
I guess I'll go first. So you can find Star Wars Geek Girl. That's just Star Wars Geek Girl on the Facebook page, and then Twitter and Instagram at SW Geek Girl, and then StarWarsGeekGirl.com, where I write things and do quizzes. And we are doing a live stream on Saturday at 10 p.m. EST, because we are giving away a helmet, and it's like a raffle drawing, and we're gonna live stream that.
Cool.
So see who wins the helmet.
You can be a shiny.
Yeah, and then
Oh
I
wait, no,
post.
it's
It's Captain Keeley.
it's a Keely.
It's a Keeley. He dies, but he has a
Captain
really cool
Keeley.
helmet. So
Yeah, but it's a really good scene though.
it's a really great episode, really great helmet.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I write things. I wrote a lot this week because 501st day, then May the 4th,
Mhm.
and then May the 6th is tomorrow. I wrote about Anakin, and then I do quizzes. You can take quizzes; those are fun. And yeah. Oh, I wrote about Kanan. I just wrote my Kanan article for Friday because Friday is my normal posting day, and I was like, it's
Okay.
Sal's birthday. I got to write about Kanan. Happy early birthday, by the
That makes
way.
sense. Thank you. Thank you.
Wait, when is it?
Friday. Yes, I get a
Friday.
bad batch for my birthday.
The 7th.
Oh wait, it happened? No, wait, no, it's coming out. Oh
It's
yes,
coming-
okay,
yeah,
got
it's coming Friday.
it. I'm out of it.
Yeah.
If it's Saluka, I could get Voss on my birthday. Like, what if it was Voss on my birthday?
What if?
That would be crazy. They would do it just for you. Yeah. Enjoy your Voss, your little guy that I made you. He's
I do.
he's-
He's
he's
set up.
Lil Voss X.
Mhm. He's set up by the bed.
Yay.
Yeah, it's well done. she made me like a custom Voss Funko.
Aw,
And then it's
yeah,
like a
you
little
just showed
Voss.
me.
And then on the back though, it's like, Voss, like something like, and then it goes to like Gayla Voss ? You know, and I was like, that hurts. Yeah.
I put your Kanans on there too, though.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. But that was good. That was an adorable joke that I enjoyed.
Yeah, well, I made that one, and then I just kept making pops because it was really fun. Like Jonah, you've made a pop before. It's fun.
Yeah, it
So I
is.
made-
It's actually fun. I think about it from time to time, and wherever Dave has it, I'm curious. I'm curious whether any of it has fallen off, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was like, I think this is okay, but then I saw a video later on, and they like scratched it so that they could put clay on it so that it sticks better. And I thought,
they
oh no, I
scratched it?
didn't do that.
I didn't
They
do
did
that
like
either.
they did like hash marks.
Oh no, I
So
didn't
that
do that.
the clay
No,
would, and I was like, oh no, I didn't do that.
Sal, none of his dreads were like broken off, right? Because I was
No.
worried about that. No, okay.
No, everything.
Yeah,
was
no, because I
together.
like put like the hair on and like the armor, and then I literally just like I used polymer clay, and then I literally put it in the oven, like the whole pot with the clay on, and he fell over in the oven, but like it worked. It baked the clay, and he didn't melt. He a little bit.
We'll see how.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I won't see.
I'll give you
It's like,
updates.
I
Yeah,
have
no,
idea
he
what
should.
the status
But
is on
then-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then I made that, and I was like, that's really fun. I want to make more. So she's asleep. I made Sappy for her graduation. Made her a Dr. Afra pop because I made her 000 a while
Nice.
ago, and so I made her Afra, and then I made her one of her D&D character.
I'll let you know if mine falls apart, and then we can speculate about Jonas.
And yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, hopefully you won't.
No.
So
So far,
I
so
mean,
good. So
and
far,
I
so good.
figured, and at one time I figured, oh well, I mean, there's an art department there. Maybe he'd take it over and have someone fix it. I don't know.
There's a Funko Pop repair station.
Yeah. Alone, he's walking into ILM like, look, I got this really important thing that I need to take care of. A little.
My hair fell off.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, I made your guy like over a month ago because I make things early because I'm crazy. So hopefully he held up for a
You're
month.
prepared.
So
Prepared.
I am. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have. Yeah, I'm very
So far, so
prepared.
good. He's fine.
Mhm. I just picked up Sedona. I just picked up stuff for your birthday present yesterday.
Oh man.
So
Sweet. Oh, man, I really need to get on my birthday list. I need to be more strict about that. Oh.
yeah. Well, we need to do the rest of the plugs. So
Yes.
Sal, do you want to do yours? I wrote them out for you if you want to.
You can let me read the thing that you wrote now.
So you can remember all of them.
That seems like a lot. It seems unnecessary, kind of.
Hey, I'm not the one that made it.
Hey, everybody. You can check us out at the Rogue Rebels podcast. Make sure you're following us on Spotify, Podbean, SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. Wherever you listen to podcasts. We got our Bad Batch episodes dropped Monday. What am I doing? Yeah, Monday, but also like something cool with the pod. Oh, I have a Bad Batch playlist on Spotify. So if you go to that playlist, I'm going to add the episodes as they drop. So like you can literally like listen to them all in order, like as they come out. So it's kind of cool. And I'm happy about Spotify playlists. So enjoy that. You can check us out at theroguerebels.com where we talk about everything from books, comics, Star Wars, Rebels, High Republic, War of the Bounty Hunters. I just got excited for, and everything Star Wars. Right now, the Bad Batch as well. We're on Facebook page. Go like it. We have an Instagram. It's at the Rogue Rebels and a TikTok. We're on Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fam because we're a family. So tweets at yeah. That's it.
Oh, my turn. So you can find my podcast, which is the Geeky Bubble podcast, on iTunes and Google Podcasts and all those platforms that play podcasts. And you can also find me on Twitter with the hashtag, not the at symbol. Blue Jake Eyes and Geeky Bubble Pod. And if you're interested, I also write for dorksideoftheforce.com. Good times.
Good time.
Yay. So thank you guys so much for for talking about Bad Batch with us. Yeah, maybe we'll have to like regather for the finale, whenever that is.
It said 16 episodes, right?
I heard at least 14 because like
yeah, it's 16. 16 total.
16 total. Okay,
Yeah.
I need to write that down. But that'll like take us through because I wrote all the episodes down. Again, I'm a nut job. But that'll take us into August. So
Yay. Visions.
Star Wars to last us through the summer.
Yeah. Good
Yes.
times. All right. See you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Had a blast.
Yay.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you. We'll definitely have to have you back on again sometime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah. So thank you to everyone for listening. Go check out all the things we said, all the websites and all that. May the force be with you and goodbye.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.